What's up? Welcome to Make Shit Happen. My guest today is Jeremiah John, also known as Jay. Jay, how you doing, man? Thank you so much for coming, and thanks for making the time and being on this podcast. Make Shit Happen.
No, thank you for even having me. I appreciate it, Sam.
No problem, man. So tell me something, Jay. First of all, you run a hospital right now, and that's your day-to-day thing, right? So What's the name of this hospital?
New Horizon Hospital.
New Horizon Hospital. So Jay, what I was wondering before the interview, and I was talking to you, and we got to know each other on social media through some friends, and I'm like, how did this guy get in the hospital business, because that's not your background, and this is something that you kind of fell into and landed. Before the interview, we were talking about it, and you said that after school, after you finished school, I mean, when you were 18, tell us a little bit tell us a little bit about your journey. Tell us how you started, how did you ended up, and what do you do now?
Yes. So after school, graduated from a military school. School was something I enjoyed, but I used it more for my benefit, and I always owned businesses. Like I was telling you, I think I had one job in my journey. And then from there, I started owning businesses early on as 17, owning residential cleaning services, advertisement companies. And then I jumped into franchises, logistics, and grew and started understanding business operations, finances. With growing these businesses, finances started becoming a crucial part with me understanding the banking industry here. And I like to tell people, with that, with growing into that, I started learning lending. And then I think that really opened up a lot of doors for me with understanding lending for my businesses, which then I started helping other friends of mine. And then I made into a business with helping them to receive lending also.
All right. So walk us back. You said you've only had one job after you graduated from high school. What was that job?
I worked for Houston Light and Power.
Houston Light and Power. And then you said after that you just had businesses. So
Correct.
What is your first business?
A cleaning service, residential.
How did you get into that?
Well, the reason I like the light company is because when you started very early, when you got done, you got paid for.
What were you doing for the lighting company?
We were in the field reading meters.
Okay.
Right,
Well, at that time, HLNP was the only company.
Right.
That's before it got the other companies deregulated, or the monopoly. They broke the monopoly of HLNP. So
Correct.
Okay, so you're reading meters.
Right, reading meters and getting done with that. And from there, I started advertising. A mentor of mine, he was very crucial, Larry, educated me on business. So I got very fortunate to meet.
So how did you meet this mentor?
I met him through a network marketing company,
Okay.
through some friends. I wasn't part of that company, but I met him, and we kind of had a conversation. He took me under his ring, and he knew I was asking a lot of the right questions but didn't know. And then he started guiding me in business.
Okay.
And he was very successful here in Houston.
Okay.
Awesome.
So he told you so what did he tell you? I mean, how did you start a business? I mean, tell us a little bit.
You to be honest, it's kind of funny, but when I met him, he told me he didn't think his exact words was, he's like, he said, you're kind of dumb and we have nothing to talk about because I'm too old. So he said, I'll tell you what, I'll give you these books. And if you read these books, then we can have a conversation, because he said, your conversation I'm not interested in, and you're not going to ask me the right questions. And if you're willing to read these books, then I'll have conversations with you. And that's kind of how our journey started. I know that sounds bad, but he was a hard mentor. Reminded me of a Don Pena, and Dan or Don Pena. But he really meant well. So the books that he gave me and read kind of started my journey to where I started moving forward with all the rest of my businesses. One of the first books he gave me back in '99 was Robert Kiyosaki, and I think a lot of people know of him now.
The Rich Dad Poor Dad.
Rich Dad Poor Dad, Cash Flow Quadrant, and we played the game and did all that stuff. So that kind of really gave me a good sense on seeing the system here of money and being able to structure that, to understand that for myself in business.
But now Robert Kiyosaki talks a lot about building assets and buying properties and stuff like that. So at this time, I mean, do you have the money? Did you get any money from your family? You had some money saved? I mean, how did it work?
No. So
walk us back. Walk us back.
So the part that I got from Robert Kiyosaki over the assets was the employee, self-employed business owner, investor. So at that moment I was an employee, and it gave me the knowledge to really understand. I wanted to get over to the business owner side.
Okay.
With that, the reason I went into the residential cleaning is my mentor helped me.
So you started a residential cleaning.
Cleaning. That's
Okay.
correct. And I basically put a business card newsletter ad, which cost me at that time $50, and it went out to 5,000 homes, and I just started getting flooded with phone calls. At that time, the economy was doing really well, a lot of new development, and so people were spending money on these services. So I hired a friend of mine and used a partial my paycheck, and then we went to get these jobs, and I paid her partial with the job. And then eventually, while I was working that, the business that we were getting from the company ended up paying her salary.
Okay.
And then whenever new business came in, I came in and helped, and then I hired someone else, and then that ended up growing to about a 12, 15 maid service, and it grew pretty quickly.
So when you first started, did you go buy a whole bunch of supplies? Did you go buy a vacuum cleaner? I mean, what did you do?
No, I was very strategic with that. I asked all my clients, and I told them if I would rather them buy everything that they like for their home, because if I brought something in their home, then they might not like it. They could be allergic to it. Even with the vacuums, I told them, hey, if I vacuum a home with a dog that has fleas, then I'm bringing that in your home. So I asked for them to provide all of the products. So it was a plan for me not to have any overhead.
Oh, okay. That was pretty smart. So
Right.
so you basically started the business really with $50.
Yes.
Okay. And so what did you do with that business?
I grew it. So I started advertising at that time. I think Pearland, which was Silver Lake, wasn't developed yet.
Yeah.
Greatwood, Katy was up and coming, growing. So at that time, I just started putting these newsletter business ads all over the city and started growing pretty fast.
So you went 12 to 15 maids.
Right.
And how long did you have that business?
Probably 2 years. I was very uneducated in business, and so I didn't know really what I was doing, and I grew very fast, and I was very young. So and I was just going around collecting checks from people's home, and I didn't even have the DBA yet. I didn't have the LLC, so I was just depositing checks in my name. And then it's funny because that was my first tax lesson also.
Okay.
Right.
So you got a tax problem.
Yes, yeah, it's a tax problem. Right.
You didn't know. You were like, hey, look, I'm just getting the money, putting it in the thing. I don't need to pay Uncle Sam.
Right. So I was another lesson learned, and with my mentor guiding me, he would guide me here. I wasn't asking questions all the time.
Yeah.
He jumped in and we developed the LLC, built it to a reputable company, and then I ended up selling it.
You ended up selling it.
Yeah, 12 maids. I had 2 girls cleaning somewhere between 15 homes a week.
Okay.
I know about 2.
So total about 90 homes then?
Yeah, I was doing most 2 girls could average around 3 homes
a day.
Yeah.
Working 5-6 days a week.
Yeah, 5 days a week, sometimes
Okay.
6. Yes, that's correct.
So 15 home multiplied by 6. So you're talking about 90 homes roughly.
Right.
That's pretty good. That's impressive.
Right.
And so now you always had them, the clients supply their own stuff.
Yes, that's correct.
So your only overhead was
the
just
girl, there was the
employees,
the labor,
and then
I
you said some transportation.
Right,
costs.
and then I ended up eventually buying vehicles for them.
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. Some
Right.
transportation. costs.
Transportation, yes.
So you started this business. A couple of years later, get into a tax problem. Then you grew the business to 12 to 15 maids. Sold the business. What do you do next?
I bought into an advertisement company.
Okay, advertisement company.
Yeah, it was a company that they set it up. They set up a lot of stands here in Houston with that also business cards in local restaurants, and then you would pay for the slots.
Okay.
And he had it set up all around Houston. I learned another variable lessons, but the books were cooked. So I thought I was buying a very profitable business, but the business was kind of dressed. So that was another lesson that I learned into business. So I bought a business that everything was not correct. So I bought a bunch of stuff that wasn't right. Thought I was buying something good, and I ended up.
Oh man, so
filling
that's a bad lesson to learn.
Right.
And how old are you at this time?
I think I was maybe 19 or 20.
Oh, you're barely 20 years
Yeah,
old.
Right.
You sold a good cleaning business. You buy this business, and you figured out it was a hoax. It was cooked. The books were cooked,
Right.
and you basically kind of got swindled a little bit.
Correct.
So what do you do now?
Now I just
What do you do after that?
well I was able to sell off a little bit of it. I was able to sell off a little bit of that business.
How long did you stay in that business?
I stayed pushing it for about a year and a half, trying to make it work, and then I found out that it wasn't going to work.
It wasn't going to work.
Right.
So
Or I didn't have these skills at that time or the resources to make it work. So everything that I was able to put effort into, I could not get it to work.
okay,
So I took my losses.
you took your losses,
Mm-hmm.
and then so now you're 20, 21 years old.
Right.
Learn a valuable lesson. I mean, and what? Because I know when you learn a lesson like that, it kind of hurts a little self-esteem. It kind of hurts your confidence. It's just
Right.
like, you're like, man, I don't know if I want to do it again. Kind of give you the fear. What did that do to you?
Yeah, it did that. I think what really helped me out that I like the most is with this process, my mentor was always telling me, good job, you failed. That's part of winning.
Okay.
So he was always, I had someone there to always help me understand that. And
It's okay to fail.
It's okay to fail. And then he was real good with the life chart. That's something that I learned early on with him mentoring me. And with that, we had a lot of mission, purpose, vision written in that.
So what is a life chart?
Well,
Explain us a little bit.
Sure. He would break up my life for me. He said a lot of individuals didn't know how to break their life up to understand it. So we broke it up in categories from spiritual, health, self-improvement, finances, relationship, family, social, and recreation. And he would start off with, having me write goals from daily, weekly, monthly, quarterly, yearly, and that's kind of how he started helping me find my purpose, mission, and life. So with that, whenever I failed, he would go back to, well, this is the overall goal, but this is what we had that we were doing daily. That's something I think really helped change my life, because even when we first started our journey with reading the books, he made me write this out, and he would hold me accountable on Sundays. And so if I told him I was going to do something that week for the daily goals that I had for that week, he would check on me on Sunday and say, okay, this is what you asked me. This is what you said you wanted to do. So why are you not doing it? So early on, he showed me that I was my own enemy very quickly. And I figured that out. And just by him calling me on Sundays and holding me accountable to what I say, because he was right. He's like, this is what you want. I don't want it. You're telling me what you want. I just showed you how to structure it. And so that really helped me out. So going back into the part of failing, since I had an overall picture early on, then I just seen that as a process that you go through with trying.
Now you talk a lot about your mentor. Is he still alive, around us today, alive, or
No, he passed.
he passed?
Yes.
And so you talk a lot about him, and you've been in a little conversation we have had.
Mhm.
I mean, you're passionate about this person because
Yes.
they taught you a lot. What made him do it?
I'm not for sure. That's something I think I honor, because growing up the way I did and coming from the background, we really had nothing relatable.
Yeah.
And for him just to kind of bring me under his wing, I to this day, I think that's why I speak of him highly. I really appreciate it for him showing me what he knows and passing that on, because I think it's hard to find people that really want you to know.
Yeah,
Right.
that's awesome.
Right.
So you failed with this advertisement business, and
Correct.
and your mentor, Mr. Larry, said, "Hey, it's okay to fail." He picked you up back
Right.
again when you were down, because when you fail, you're down.
Right.
So it's a blessing that you had somebody who picked you up.
Right.
So tell us, let's keep going. So what happened after that?
So after I failed, I ended up, I made some decent money here and there with certain businesses, and I always did other things that weren't businesses. That,
If you don't mind telling us.
Yeah, sure. I always, even in school, I remember when Foley's was around,
Yeah.
we used to always get the polo shirt. We always had resources of polo shirts, Tommy Hilfiger. So I used to sell clothes in school and stuff like that. So I always had little side deals that I was also doing with money. I got in touch with speakers, I have brothers, so if they got involved with something that we could sell, I was always doing transactions to make more money. That was my main business, but I always try. I had make $100 a day at that time, or $200 a day. I always had that concept.
Mindset. Yeah. Just do whatever I need to do. I just need to get it.
Right.
Get my side hustle
Let me
going.
get going. That's right.
Legally.
Legally get the side hustle. I always have that, because you never know. And so with that, I bought into logistics companies, where my brother, he was into more of the grocery side of business. and he introduced me to the logistics side of business with distributing different foods and different things. So I got it. And then
So now you're in the trucking business, transportation business. And what do you do now?
Now I'm just distributing different products, from frozen goods to tortillas, chips, Spanish foods. And believe it or not, I still own that business.
Okay. So you own some trucks, and they pick it up from a place, and they're taking it to the stores or little grocery stores or whatever it may be.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct. Yes. And we have contracts, and I have some franchise dealings where they have contracts, and then they use us as distribution.
Okay. So you started that when you are 24, 25?
Yeah, about 24, 25. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And so let me ask you, I mean, by 24 years old, you have already had 3 businesses.
Right.
You have had side hustles, side gigs here and there. You got swindled.
Right.
Okay. Lost a lot of money over there.
Right.
Learned a valuable lesson. What is motivating you at 24, 25 to keep going? I mean, man, you 24, a lot of people at 24-year-old, they have no freaking clue. They just want to party, want to drink, get high. I mean, so what's making you get up and have a mentor 7 days, getting, doing all this work? What is it? What's the drive? What's the goal?
Humble beginnings. I believe just not having a lot in the very beginning and wanting more. My dad was a hardworking guy, and showed up to work every day, never missed a day of work, but he understood the concept of that. And we had a big family, so I just think it was the humble beginnings and wanting more. And then, like I said, again, meeting the right person that luckily he fed me information that stimulated my mind, which was all of the Earl Nightingales, Napoleon Hills, Bob Proctor's, John Maxwell's. So early on, I was digesting a lot of that information pretty early on from Ted Robbins.
Yeah, those guys are good to read and good to hear from them.
Right.
Tell me something. You said humble beginnings. Tell me a little bit about your background, if you don't mind.
Sure. Yeah, I grew up in Alief, Houston, Texas, and moved around a lot at that time. That area was a tough area in the early years, so you kind of just grew up tough, and we moved around a lot. So I never really
I grew up in Alief too, right?
You're Alief? Okay, that's
Yeah.
right.
Okay.
Yeah. So you're probably around the same area. So that was just a tough time, and I liked the area because everybody there was a diverse culture.
Very diverse.
And everybody loved to make money. Everybody always had something that they were selling or doing, and it just was a rough time. And so going into school and doing different things, you really couldn't just be yourself because it was just a tough area. You wouldn't know it until you started getting into the Ollies and the schools of that area at the time that I was.
So what area did you grow up in?
Leawood.
Oh, okay. So I grew up on Bissonnet and Wilcrest area, right by Ollie. Right by Ollie. Yeah, I used to live in these apartments down the street. It was on Wilcrest and South Drive. It was called Winding Trails.
I lived in Winding Trails.
Oh, you lived in Winding Trails?
Yeah.
Wow, that's crazy.
And then we moved up to Leawood condominiums.
Oh, you moved to Leawood condominiums, yeah. So we lived at Winding Trails for a long time. Then we moved towards Hollop, which was Derry Ashford and Bissonnet, and I can't even remember the name right now. Huntington Village.
Oh, Huntington, yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
and that was a big improvement, right?
Right.
that was like moving from one side like this side to all the way to it's just like it's a big improvement, like leaps and bounds. So now you want to. You're motivated to work. You're motivated to get something. And I mean, you might be right. People who grew up in that area, they had this little hustle. They wanted to grow up. They wanted to, even 4 lights, or 5 lights, right? I grew up on Wilcrest, and it's really 4 lights because it's Boone, Kirkwood, Cook, and then Derry Ashford. And all of a sudden, the scenery changes.
Yeah, it does.
Right? The scenery changes, and it's crazy, how much it changes, and I mean, it's very true when you're around, what's his name? Someone said Les Brown said OPP, only OQP, only quality people,
right?
And when you're around quality people, it makes you want to elevate your game.
Right.
Makes you want to be better, want to make you, I'm not gonna say more be like them, but at least, but in a sense, be like them.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, he's driving a nice Honda Accord.
Mm-hmm.
I want to get me a nice Honda Accord.
Right, right.
What did he do to get there? Maybe I can get that done. So you might be right. I mean, OQP. I mean, only quality people is a big deal. And I mean, who you surround yourself with is big. And when you surround yourself with people who have that like-minded, the hustle mentality, the hey, I want to get better.
Right.
I mean, you just can't help but rub on to you, right?
Right.
So tell us, so you're in this school, you're around people who want a diverse culture, who want to do something, and then what happened? So you didn't go to school in Engleaf?
Yeah, I did. Yes, I did. I went to Boone, and then I also went to Olin. Yes.
Okay.
And then I started getting kicked out of schools.
Okay.
I don't know. And saying it's funny you said that about A-Leaf. You hung around everybody, older and younger. So you're right. You wanted more because the whole neighborhood would hang out. So you're hanging around with the older generation and the younger generation. Even though you were younger, probably should have hung around kids more your age. I hung around a lot of older people also because of my brothers, and so. Since that, I exactly right. I had a lot more drive, I believe, because of that, because I wanted what they wanted. I was probably hanging around the era that I should have been hanging around my age at that time. But yeah, from there, did not do well in school. Always got put out of school. I understood. I just never really finished school. I ended up finishing in a military school. So from there, my father ended up moving. He moved out of A-Leaf because he seen that it wasn't a fit for us and we were getting in too many situations. And then he tried to move towards Stafford, and we got kicked out of all those schools. And then we ended up in Missouri City and got kicked out of those schools.
So you were just a trouble kid, huh?
We were troubled. We were troubled and got in a situation. And I believe it was just that mentality coming from A-Leaf. When we went to the schools, we were always trying to do different things, sell things, and you had people that just we didn't really fit into a lot of different areas. Same with my brothers. So we ended up all finishing, even myself. But like I said, I had to go to a military school. It's called Seaborn Conservation Corps.
So what is a military school? Like boarding school?
Yeah, it was like a boarding school, right? So it was just something to get you in school and a little college at the same time.
Gotcha.
That's right.
So you go over there. Now you're doing. You meet your mentor, giving you a lot of self-improvement books. You're reading these self-improvement books. Thinking, but reading is one thing, but applying is another, right? So you now you're trying to apply, and you're lucky that you got a guy who's holding you accountable, holding your feet to the fire, right?
Right.
So let's go logistic business. Now what do you do after that?
The logistics business, then I opened up a car lot. I did a franchise, Edible Arrangements. I partnered with someone with Edible Arrangements, and then that's when I really started learning lending and how to leverage companies.
Okay.
And with owning these companies, all of them I tried to get loans, and I started realizing, why would this bank give this company this big of a credit line and not give this company any money at all, like a car lot? But the revenue was a lot higher in this company than this company.
Yeah.
And then I started educating myself from those companies, which was the Epic Logistics, it was the franchises, the car lot, and then I had some other dump truck companies that I was dabbling with, and I started learning. And I had a body shop also. Invested into a body shop off of Kirkwood, and I started leveraging those companies with the banks. So I started learning how to build relationships with banks.
Gotcha.
And early on, I learned their language,
Gotcha.
and I was like, oh, okay, now I understand how to leverage. So I started investing into companies that I could only leverage to grow further.
Okay.
So then it became not so much about how much a company revenue is, as long as it's cash flowing and it's able to leverage, then I was into it.
Then you're into it.
Right.
Right. And then so basically now you're teaching yourself, hey, what is bank looking for, and what do I need to do? My I always say banks try to loan money to people who don't need any money.
Right.
So that's the principle. So you find a niche. You find the hidden sauce right there, saying, okay, well, that's what they're looking for. So I'm gonna buy this, leverage him, expand more, use someone else's money to make more money.
That's correct. So I like to say I made Bank of America my uncle, Wells Fargo my aunt, and the credit unions my cousins. That's what I tell people. I learned their language.
You learned their language.
That's right. I learned how to talk to them. And so from there, that's when I started leveraging companies to buy real estate, commercial real estate, And then everyone started asking me about how was I able to get lending, because they didn't know, they had good businesses, but they didn't understand the structure of how to get the lending done, and they didn't understand. Some of them didn't understand it was a lot of relationship based. It's always relationship based on, for them kind of helping you get into the lending side of it because of the Fair Lending Act and different things that they're not allowed to speak of. So from there, I started developing a business of almost brokering loans, and then I ran into who's my partner now, Bun. He was a big change in my life because he was a vice president for several banks, and so he was already doing this also. So we teamed up, and then I think from there everything just took off.
And so y'all started a lending company together.
Correct.
Or brokering.
We started brokering together. That's correct.
Okay. And then what happens?
We started lending to a lot of businesses. So when you're doing the lending, it's really interesting because everyone's an open book to you.
Right.
Right.
You have to know everything about them.
Know everybody. Right. So they're not.
You know exactly how much their money is, what they bring in.
Right.
They're naked in front of you.
You could come with the fancy car, but I know what's really good going on.
Yeah.
Right. So we were able to have a lot of relationships. When you become the money guy, you start getting invited to the weddings and you get invited to the personal things because you become their financial arm. So because of that, we learned a lot of businesses in Houston, and since we got a hold of their books, we kind of saw where the money was in business because you get to look at the books, right? If you're looking at logistics company, medical entities,
everything, whatever it is.
You see it. So from there, we started getting into the ER side of things and clinic with our own resources and partnering. And then that's when I met my partner now that owns several hospitals, and we developed a relationship and we started opening hospitals together.
Okay, and that's where you landed, getting into a hospital.
That's correct.
So right now, it's how many partners are there in the hospital business?
3.
Okay, is it you?
Me, myself, Bun, and my doctor.
Oh, so Bun came along with you.
Yeah, me and Bun pretty much with that, we started purchasing
everything
together. He has a part of our team that I don't have, so we kind of figured out how to make that work. And
I made like a little trio.
We made a trio, yes.
Gotcha.
Yes.
And so what do you do with the hospital now?
We right now operations. I'm involved with the operations
day to
day.
Okay.
Yes.
So have you thought about if you read a lot of books? I mean, you thought about working on your business instead of in your business. And does that bother you that you're in it right now?
Yes, a little bit, because I believe now from where I'm at, I understand we really understand talent and hiring talent and letting talent
run
with their gifts and within the company. But at the same time, I know you have to really be involved to understand, so you could fill in the holes and we do pretty well with that, right? I have a CEO, and she does very well.
So let me ask you, Jay, when you first started, okay, and there's a lot of misconception, a lot of young kids now, especially with the social media age, right? Mm-hmm. They think they want to get in business because they want to make sure that there's enough time, they can compartmentalize and just work for a little bit, and because they have their own business. What do you think about that?
No, I worked a lot. I tell people I work every day. When I first, like I said, one of the stories I was telling you with the car lot, I remember going to get up at 3 a.m. to run the logistics company. Then I would go to the car lot, and then from there, I remember having a different set of clothes, and I would go to Palace Inn, pay that $20, take a shower in there, and then change into my dress clothes to go do the loans.
Wow.
So, I mean, it was a full day. It started at 3, and I would be home at 9, and then I worked. Yeah, I think I worked a lot. I still do.
Yeah. So when all these guys think, hey, I'm gonna open my own business and I work 20, 30 hours and be off on the weekends, and what do you think? What would you say to that?
No, it's not gonna happen. I like the outliers, like they say, you got to put the 10,000 hours in to understand anything. Yes.
Yeah.
No.
because I tell people, I'm like, hey, you go into the business for a wrong reason, right? If you think about, I don't have to work a lot. I'll give you a little story the other day what happened. And I mean, Angel can attest to that. So I'm sitting at my on my desk, and I don't know, I just opened up my Instagram, and I got a message from this guy. And he said, hey, I like your profile. Would like to get you, more PR work, and I can get you more articles, this and this. Well, so happened that I'm looking for, getting some articles, getting my personal brand growing, right? And so I'm like, okay, man, hit me up. He's like, before I hit you up, I'll send you this video, 2-minute video. Take a minute and look at it. So I watched the 2-minute video. I liked it. I said, I like it. Let's talk. Mm-hmm. He sent me a calendar invite. But it's Monday night that night, right? Is it Monday night? Uh-huh. Monday night that night. It's Monday 6:30. I'm still at the office. I called this guy. This guy says he sent me an invite for Thursday. So I sent him a message right back. I said, hey, man, you sent me an invite for Thursday. Call me right now. He said, oh, well, I can talk to you Thursday. Why are you not going to talk to me right now? And so I'm like, okay, man, whatever, Thursday. But I'm turned off. But I'm hot right now. Mm-hmm. Close the deal. So I sent him a message. I said, bro, I'm hot right now. Close the deal. Mm-hmm. Call me. Mm-hmm. He didn't call me. Mm-hmm. So he calls me on I forgot all about it on Tuesday. Mm-hmm. Okay, I said, okay, Thursday, whatever, right? Mm-hmm. He calls me on Wednesday at 12. He texts me. Now, because I'd given my number. Text me, hey, Sam, just want to remind you about our meeting Thursday at 2. I said, yeah, it's cool, but I said, you can call me right now. Let's close this deal. I said, because tomorrow I might be cold. I might not want to do business with you.
Right.
He said, I'll call you Thursday. I'm like, this guy right here. Mm-hmm. Either he's really showing me like a principle of disinterest and getting me excited about it, or he's just not about his business, right? Thursday comes, 2 o'clock. He calls me at 1:40. Say, hey, sorry, I know we got a 2 o'clock meeting. I got something that come up. Can we just do Friday? I said, no, bro, don't call me no more. We're done.
Right.
And so young guy, right? Mm-hmm. And so I'm thinking, why do some people think it's easy and they want to compartmentalize? And I mean, look, when you first start, I truly believe that you got to work infinite number of hours.
Right.
You cannot see what is Thursday, what is Friday, what is Saturday.
No.
Bust your ass and go to work.
Right.
Right. And I mean, these young people, the young entrepreneurs, they get into business for a wrong reason. They're thinking, hey, that way I have my gym time, I have my family time, I have my friends time. I got my little girls, my little, or if they're girls, my little boys time, whatever it is, right? And I want to go on vacation every weekend, every weekend I want to get away. What would you say to stuff like that?
No, I think to be an entrepreneur, it's pretty much, you have to know that's what you want to do, because it's going to take your life to put into it. Yes, you're gonna live it, sweat it. It's going to be your life. Yes, and I think the key of that is trying to balance everything else out, because growing that business is your life. It is, and so yeah, if you're gonna feel like you're going to get into something just to do it part-time, then you're going to get a part-time result. You're never going to get to where you want to get that to grow to. Mostly once you start figuring out when you do grow, dealing with personalities, dealing with character, dealing with a team, you're going to live and breathe that business. Yes.
And, I like the way you said it becomes part of your life. I always tell everybody, when you open your business, you're a slave to your business.
That's right.
Right? And if you, exactly what you said, if you give it part-time, you get part-time results, right? And I always tell people, if you're not faithful to your business, or if you don't give it a full attention, your business is not going to give you full attention. If you're not faithful to your business, the business is not going to be faithful to you. It's just like having a relationship with somebody.
Right.
And it's very, very, very important. But people just don't understand. On social media, they see this fancy life.
Right.
And they get sucked into that.
Yes.
Right. So, what is your point of view once you have achieved success like you have achieved, right? Coming from humble beginnings, opening a lot of businesses, going through ups and downs, getting fail, some of the one failure that you mentioned, I'm sure you have had more than one failure.
Yes.
I always tell people, man, I made a lot of mistakes, more mistakes than I could have. Yeah. I could have probably had 4 Harvard degrees by the amount of mistakes I made, right?
Right.
And because we both of us come from not business background, not learning the business language, not learning how to, the taxes, the corporations and stuff. And I sit in meetings till today, and I'm learning, right, every day. But what I was saying is, like, people don't, they come from that background. They don't know the business. They don't know, and they try to learn on on the run, and you did the same thing. And you have achieved. Would you say that you have achieved some success as of today?
Yes, for myself, yes.
So once you achieve that success, what do you feel about humility and being humble, and why is it important, if it is important?
For where I'm going, I feel for what I want, my goal is to be my own fund. That's where I'm going, and I'm looking to invest into talent. And so the humbleness of that and the work ethic is what I'm looking for. That's why I'm glad my journey was the way my journey was, because now when I get with individuals, I could recognize that talent. I could look at their habits. I could watch them and see that. So the humbleness of it gave me the ability to see that in other individuals, because that's where I feel like my mission's taking me, is to start to be able to invest into other individuals like myself that I know are going to go through that hard process, and I'm hoping to be that lending source for them to help them get there if they have that work ethic. And like you said, for people like ourselves, if we don't see that work ethic or they don't understand that, I pull back right away, because I know what's going to happen.
Yeah,
it's not.
The money's going to go down the drain.
Go down the drain. So with the humble beginnings, I think it showed me that. It showed me that from a different perspective of just the daily grind of being there, learning. Like you said, I said in some board meetings, I guess I'll say it out loud, and I'm around a bunch of doctors and learners, doctors and different very educated people, and we're in a board meeting, and they'll say, Jeremiah, you're very quiet, you're very intelligent, you must be taking everything in. And I'm like, no, I just really don't know what y'all talking about. It's that high level. And I love it. And I'm like, yeah, I love it. But I'm in there learning every day, just always trying to grow and understand. And I just love the gifts that they have, because these people are so brilliant. And it's unique to watch their gifts. And that's the humbleness, I think, which also helped me, is I really appreciate the people that I work with their gifts, because I come from maybe a different background, that I enjoy them. I enjoy watching their journeys and how they come from Harvard and they come from Yale. And then when you see them create within my organization or develop things for human beings, it's really amazing. So I believe that's where the humble beginnings help. And I think it will help others understand that if you want a shortcut, you're shorting yourself in the long run from an understanding that you'll need later on, because teaming up with people, you have to see all these things. Because I always tell people, yeah, I own hospital businesses, I own logistics, but I'm really in the human business first. Everyone's really in the human business first. We're dealing with each other. Yeah.
I said, I don't know if you're on Clubhouse app or not, but one thing I talked about this morning, they brought me as a just to speak a little bit. So I spoke, and I said, we all in relationship business, right? Yes. People business.
Yes. People.
So what do you explain? Tell me your thinking about relationship business.
I think at the end, from my beginning, when I meet people, because I dealt with a lot of different people in business, from the blue collar to now the hospitals. We're dealing with the white collar and very educated. And when I learned that no matter your trade that you learn, you go back to the basics of the principles of humanity always. And you're always in it. Mostly something always ends up being your enemy within yourself. And I think that journey of that life chart really helped me realize that. And then one of the reasons I feel like I done well with partnering with people is because I wasn't really the talent. I just knew how to, I seen talent, and I knew how to partner with them and bridge it. Uh-huh. And that's what happened also with my partner, Bun, which we were partners first, and my doctor. They both had a talent, and I had my talent, and I knew how to bridge that. And the reason why is you have to understand people first, yourself, with that journey, and then you can see it in others, and then you can learn how to work with it. And that's the humanity side of it, the basic principles. Everyone focuses on their trade, right? But then we forget to focus on ourselves, which some people will say, well, that's self-improvement, because we're just so focused on our trade. If it's being an attorney, being a doctor, being business, that we forget about the basic things that we relate to people on and able to recognize,
if you say, hey, you know what, man, there's a couple of things that's missing in my life. What would you say that is? Something that you have not done, accomplished, achieved, something I'm missing. What would that be?
Build for myself, probably.
Or for your legacy or whatever it is.
Right now, probably building right. I'm building teams, but I have a specific team that I want to build with, almost honoring my mentor with that life chart. My goal is to bring that out and give that to people. So I feel like I'm missing that direction of it.
Okay.
If that makes
Well,
sense.
mentoring and teaching people.
Yeah, teach it. Yes. I want to get. Yes, I want to. I haven't been able to
mentor people.
Mentor.
So you want to start like a mentorship program?
Yes,
if that's what you're talking
mentorship, and also like what you're doing, podcast, to give out the information, because I feel like the information helps people a lot.
Yeah, information is key. Information is key.
Yeah, and I like to share it. Yes.
People sometimes, when they get success, they get it gets to their head, right? And you look like a very humble guy. Why? I mean, what do you think about that? When people when they make money, they just think they're above everybody, and
I think two perspectives on it. One, you go through some of them, they go through so much that they know what it takes. So they're, I don't know if the right word would be pittiness of people sometimes. That, and I think the other one is that they figure out that money could buy a lot. They could buy a lot, so they stop caring about taking care of the basic things. I think that's where the humbleness comes in, and some people say if money hasn't changed you, then you just haven't made enough yet.
Hey, it's gonna change you. I always talk about it, right? And some people hate me for saying this. Some people dislike it when I say this. They say money doesn't buy happiness. What are your perspective about that?
It might not buy happiness, but it could get pretty close to it. It won't buy happiness, but it could get a false sense of it. Is it
false sense, or is it because there's more marriages destroyed, there's more families destroyed, there's more relationship destroyed because of money,
right?
Not having money, right? And I mean, it's a stat, right? There's very few divorces caused by having money, but a lot more by money. A lot of people say, "Oh man, this guy was a billionaire and he's unhappy." Okay, well, how many cases do you see of billionaires not happy? This guy was a billionaire, he committed suicide. Well, mental sickness is a big deal, and mental sickness does not say that it cannot be in a rich person or a poor person or a wealthy person or a poor person, right? Everybody is susceptible to that, and everybody's open to that. It can hit that person, and I always say, look, you're right. Money doesn't buy happiness, but money buys you tools and makes you be happy, right? Because I've never seen a guy who's not happy in his private jet, or in his 120-foot yacht, right? And people say I'm being shallow about it. So I want to know your perspective.
No, it buys you the resources. It buys you the talent to do the things that you want to do. I agree with you. That's why I said it's very close to buying happiness because of that, depending which way you view it, right? I think if you say from a point of view where the billionaire wasn't happy, well, that was a lot of deeper issues, right? Yeah. But most people, you could buy it because now you have the resources to buy what you need, to buy the education, to buy the different things that you need to do what you want to do, because then it exposes you more in life, right? Because one of the reasons we can't do things that we want to do is because of money, right? And so once you get that money, then you're able to do a lot more in life, right? So, and I always like to say money is a negative result of value that we created, right? It's just something, but at the same time, it's what's needed. And I learned that very quickly. That's why in my journey, I knew the system. I seen the system. I like Robert because he kind of tried to show you it's a system, but the happiness of it, I think you can, to be honest with you. Now, not if you have deeper issues, but it can. Yeah.
And I mean, sometimes people say, well, when you have money around you, you don't know if these guys these people around you are fake friends or real friends. And but then I say the same thing. If you don't have money, sometimes you're not welcome anymore, because I don't want freeloaders around, so nobody wants to take you out and you don't have money for the meal or money for a drink. And I'm constantly feeding you. So I mean, of course at that time but I honestly think it's a give and take. Yes, money does not buy you happiness. You can't buy happy, but it can, like you said, It can take you. It opens up a lot of doors, a lot of opportunities. It gives you a lot of opportunities that will make you happy, at least for that time.
Right.
At the end of the day, if you don't have peace, I mean,
right.
you're not gonna be happy.
No, if someone asked me, I'm a lot more happier with my success. Yes.
Yeah.
And yes,
because you are more happier when you
Yes.
know your rent is going to be paid.
That's right.
You're happier when you know you don't have to
That's
worry
right.
about your car. Put gas in your car to go to work.
That's
You
right.
know, it's more happier when you have the money to make sure if your loved one gets sick, you can put them in the hospital.
That's right.
And I feel like a lot of people don't realize it. I read it on Twitter one time. Don't say money buy you happiness. Money does not buy you happiness unless you have made enough money to say that.
That's right. Yeah, it's true.
Yeah.
It's true. It buys you time too. That's what
Buys you time,
It buys
too.
you time. I mean, it really buys you a lot of time. And you're right. If you have a lot of money, you're able. I from my experience, you're able to give more.
Give more.
And which it's there's a different. I mean, yeah, there's levels of giving, but I've been able to give more.
So tell me about that. What give more? Explain it to us. Expand on it a little bit.
Well, like our toy drive we just recently did at our
Right.
hospital, I think that was Christmas for me. It was us being able to give back to the community, give back to foster kids, give back to the kids that maybe didn't have what they needed at the time.
And why is that important?
Well, for one, I think it's a spiritual thing to give back. It's something that you got to remember, right, on as being a human being, and is that it's a spiritual thing to have to give back, to feel that, and to give to the community. Why? Because it keeps you humble. Like you said, going back to the humbleness of giving back to the community, I believe that there's a give and trade there, right? As you bring in, you got to give back.
And you build people around you. I mean,
build,
but
right.
your mentor Larry gave it to you.
Right.
I don't know if you ever paid him anything.
Right.
But
Right.
but that was his
No.
giving to you.
He gave it to me, and
Yeah.
and then for myself, since that was given to me, that's also why I feel responsibility pretty soon here to give out the information that he gave me, because he didn't charge me anything. To this day, I really appreciate him. I don't know why he allowed me to stay in his life as long as he did. I don't know what he's seen. I'll be honest with you, but I ended up helping him out at the end. That's what's so funny.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's good. But
Yeah.
you know what you need to do. I don't know if you're on Clubhouse yet or not,
Mm-hmm.
but Clubhouse is a great app. I think it's a good audio app. I'm loving it. Okay, and there's a lot of rooms in there, and there are
Okay.
people who are hungry for that kind of stuff. And
Really?
and I mean, I think it would behoove you, to offer, something like that.
Okay.
If you're really interested in that.
Yeah, sure. No, I'm not on there.
I'll after the show, I'll tell you, give you little tips on it. But yeah, if anybody who's listening, they're not in Clubhouse, they need to definitely check out Clubhouse. It's a great audio app. It's just came out, and it's amazing. They have these rooms. People are talking about it. Get you motivated. Some people are just not great rooms, but I think if you find one, I've been in several last week, and I love it. I love it, man. I love it.
Okay. Yeah, I appreciate that. Yeah, I'll have to really check that out.
What is left from you? I mean, you get it. You want to do a mentorship program. I mean, do you want to open up more hospital? Do you want to open up more businesses? I mean, how old are you at this point?
Right now, I'm 39.
39. So, I mean, you got a long life to live.
Right.
What do you want to do? Do you want to open up more businesses? Do you want to open up?
Yeah, I think that's living for me. Like I said, I want to become my own fund, and then we're growing into commercial real estate. Any opportunity that's out there, we're going to stay on the medical side, building more hospitals, but mostly on the commercial real estate side of it, and then also finding businesses of people that have the talent, and then we're investing to them to help them grow also.
Help them grow.
Yes,
All right.
yes.
Perfect. Jay, we're getting towards the end of the interview, and I ask everybody the same question, right? And like, let's say today is the last day, your last day of life. You happen to live 100 years, okay? And you got it. Now it's time to go meet your creator, right? And everything that you did YouTube videos, you did podcasts, you did whatever, you wrote books, whatever you did has all gone away, and you cannot take it with you. They come and they hand you a pen and a paper and say, Jay, write 3 things that's important to you, 3 things that you want to leave to the world, your future generation, and the future world. And this is the only 3 things you can write on the on the paper. And this can be your 3 truths. This can be 3 things how to be great. There's 3 things how to carry yourself. Whatever it is, 3 things. What will it be?
The life chart.
So you want to talk about the life chart, why life chart is important. Expand life chart one more time.
Okay. It's a way to divide up your life from spiritual, health, self-improvement, finances, relationship, family, social, and recreation. And I believe in those areas, you're able to start defining who you are and then getting the education of who you are in those areas, because a lot of people get confused with self-improvement and finances. And they don't understand. It's I was shown that it's all, you're never in balance. So in those areas you'll put 1% to 100%, and this is information that's been around. And so when you get started, you really gauge yourself and say, where are you at spiritually, right? What are you doing here? And you might say, I'm at 10%. In your health, someone might say, I'm at 80%. I'm working out. In the finances, they could be at 30. So you are now able to split up your life and focus on those areas of those percentages and understand that those levers are never going to be balanced. You're going to be high here and understand you're going to be low here. But at least if you have an eye on that, then you can live a more fulfilled life. One thing that I was told, sometimes it might sound bad, that in that, finances and religion, sometimes it could be 2 that you could hide behind if you have them. So, and then people will look at you and wonder there's something missing. And I believe that missing is that being fulfilled in those rest of those areas of the life, because we get so busy we don't deposit. If you're chasing a company and nothing but finances, you might forget to deposit in your family. You might forget to deposit in your health. So it's a way to know that you might not be 80% in your health because you're in finances and social right now because you're building something, but at least you can understand that you need to be at least 40 to 50%, because if you succeed in finances, then your health isn't there. Same with the spirituality. If you're not depositing something there, then it might be harder for you to give back. Same with family. You need friends. So all those areas are something that I really try to go back to balance and keep the levers up. I don't think anyone's ever at 100%, and I think we're always up and down. And so I think that's something that I would give, because it also helps you find who you are, and then with your journey, and then you almost stop using logic all the time.
All right, so number 1 will be life chart.
Right. Number two would be probably relationship. Team.
Okay.
Knowing.
Tell us about relationship. Expand on it.
Team. Knowing that you. It's obvious that something doesn't want you to have it all. You're a piece of the puzzle. I seen that. So if you need a team and a relationship to grow, so once you realize you're a piece of the puzzle, then you should start looking for the other pieces of the puzzle in this world to piece together to create what you want to create in your journey.
And number 3.
Let's see. Forgive. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit.
Humans are flawed, and that we're all flawed, and we fail each other. So make sure you're able to forgive. So you forgive yourself, forgive anybody that has, things that have happened. That way you could get back up and get out there, because that's just going to be a part of your journey.
Wow. Why is forgiveness so important?
Because I think the more knowledge you gain, a lot of people do things that they're unaware of. Some do it intentionally, but even the ones that do it intentionally, they're unaware. So when you see the bigger picture of it, then it humbles you to be able to forgive, to move on. If not, you carry too much bitterness. I learned that from business partners and things that they done, things that I later on you can see it's just they didn't know. You're
hurting yourself by carrying that load.
You're carrying that. And that's okay. Right. Yes.
Man, I really appreciate it. Thank you so much, Jay, for making your time, sharing these nuggets with us, man. This is a great one. And I think people will love this. And you brought a lot of value over here with us, man. Thank you so much, Jay. Thanks for making the time.
Thank you.
Thanks for donating your time, because time is something you can't buy, man.
Right. Yeah. Thank you for having me, Sam.
Appreciate
it, man. Thank you.